The Senate with RFK yesterday. RFK's approval is at an all-time high. He's actually #1 in the administration right now, as in popularity. Because I believe he's working for the people to allow them to make the choices and not for people to make it for us. But we're going to discuss who's actually on your side. Is it the Trump administration, RFK, or is it the Senate? The Senate, I'm going to give you the numbers of everyone on that committee, what they're actually bringing in from pharma. And then you're going to say, are they working for you or are they working for pharma? Why do they want something mandated? Why do they believe in something? It's probably because they're paid to. Wait till you hear these numbers. It'll blow your mind. Also, we're going to discuss Dearborn, Michigan. How all of a sudden now on the patches of the police and enforcement, they're starting to use Muslim writing. They're starting to use Arabic. They're starting to use Middle Eastern writing. Why are we doing this? Why are we allowing for this infiltration? We're going to listen to a doctor. A professor, actually. He has seen the dangers of what's happening in the UK with this Muslim takeover. He said, America, you have no idea what's coming for you. We're going to discuss what this doctor warned of. And also we're going to talk about the banks. The banks warned, there's 2 banks that just came out and warned against our dollar, how it's failing, how the Canadian dollar is failing, and how sadly a lot of people are turning to crypto. I want to tell you a situation where one of the biggest players in crypto was El Salvador. Guess what they just decided to do? They decided to move towards something more physical. When we talk about preparation, physical, tangible goods is what we need. We'll discuss our money and a whole lot more. Let's dive into these stories today. This video starts right now. Hey everyone, thank you so very much for being here. Again, we are so humbled by you coming and checking us out. Again, we've been so held down. We do ask humbly that you will subscribe to the channel and that you will comment below, share this, because it does mean the world to us and it tells YouTube that this information is important. Our goal is not to make you fear, our goal is to make you be aware of what's going on. So let's first just talk about the RFK story, because I think it's huge. RFK's approval rating just went to an all-time high. Approval is 52%. That's higher than the Trump administration as a whole. That's higher than anyone else in this administration. Rubio actually came in second in this poll. So we see that he's actually making inroads into things that we believe in. I want to mention this. There was a secret meeting, closed door, at the White House yesterday, and they let some pictures go through, but nothing else. And the thing was, it was based on technology. Well, sadly, some of the people in that room absolutely hated Trump just a few years ago. And also, the most insequential and influential person in technology is Elon. He wasn't there, but we'll discuss this. I want to mention this though, because it goes to this party. Listen to what RFK says dealing with AI, and then we're going to move to what he just dealt with the Senate. RFK just came out and said, with the growth of AI, the capacity of the government in control will be complete. Bill Gates is putting together a 61,000 low-altitude satellites to surveil the Earth. He says that his company alone will be able to watch every square inch of the Earth all 24 hours of the day. What we're creating is the kind of turnkey totalitarianism that is dangerous, and it makes it where no human will be able to absolutely have freedom. Now that's what RFK said. That's why he is the most popular in the Trump administration. Now it's really dealing with deregulation on the health and human services, but he brings this point up at the same time when Trump has a closed door meeting with numerous CEOs. Listen to these CEOs. Every one of these either took him off the platform or absolutely spoke against him just 4 or 5 years ago. The only one that stood with him was Elon Musk, and actually was Peter Thiel, and both of them were not at this meeting. It's kind of weird, huh? All right, yesterday's numerous CEOs had dinner with Trump. It included Mark Zuckerberg, which sat right beside Trump, who absolutely deplatformed him as the sitting president. Satya Nadella, which is Microsoft, which ultimately Microsoft has been, we see, getting rid of American workers, hiring green card workers, and also sharing intelligence with China. That came last week. Remember, if you watched my story on it. Sundar Pichai, which is of course Google. We know, of course, the censorship through some of the platforms that he has. Tim Cook, Apple, which now is starting to become a friend of Trump, but ultimately Trump gave him an ultimatum to either have excess tax or come play games with us. Lisa Su, which is AMD, which is a chip, which is part of the same situation that happened last week with the chips and AI technology, which is kind of like NVIDIA. And Sam Altman, OpenAI, which is the person who absolutely spoke against religion, spoke against the fact that AI will not be a big part of your life, actually said that AI will basically take over. And so these are the people that's actually at this dinner. Now, there was some great people there. Chamath, David Sachs, some of those great leaders. However, what we are missing is who wasn't there. And let's go back to what RFK said. Does it matter who's there or not? What we're seeing is the AI capabilities that we're giving them and allowing them to sit with the president and allowing for them to have the seal of approval of the president. What we're actually saying is full control will take place with AI. Now, I wanted to bring that story up because it was not just a big deal, but it was something that we need to talk about that was not actually part of this yesterday with the Senate and RFK hearing. But let's jump into that right quick. Yesterday, of course, RFK goes before the Senate hearing over taking some of the regulation down off these medications, especially the CV-19, and I'm telling these people are up in arms. Now, let's just talk about the people that were there yelling and getting mad at RFK. Very, very contentious was Bernie Sanders, Raphael Warnock, Patty Murray, Elizabeth Warren, Ron Wyden, Ed Markey. There's a few more that was on the list too, but that was the big notables. And then of course you had John Kennedy and Cassidy on the other side, both Louisiana senators. The reason I want to bring them up because here's a story that came out with them. Now, Senator John Kennedy basically attacked RFK yesterday, but guess what? When it came out to it, John Kennedy's being paid by pharma as well. Also on Liberty Score and Freedom, how he ranks among conservatives, he ranked a C, did not rank A and B, which is what we would consider a good score for conservatism. So he's speaking against RFK and told him that he is pushing too much and actually causing for more problems. But again, remember, he's liked among conservatives more than ever right now. As a Democrat, truthfully, as a lifelong Democrat, he is now liked more and the most popular in the conservative movement in Trump's administration. Now, here's where I really want to camp out at. Now, all these people were yelling, including Cassidy, and all these Democrats, about how bad RFK was running this. I want you to listen to this. Those names I read. Listen to these numbers. Bernie Sanders has made $1.9 million off of Big Pharma. Raphael Warnock, $1.7 million. Patty Murray, $1.6 million. Elizabeth Warren, $1.2 million. Ron Wyden, $1.2 million. Ed Markey, $600,000. And of course the list goes on from there. And that was based after last run. So basically this is what they've made. This is what they've pocketed through all this time. Now there's another article that just came out on Elizabeth Warren. It says that Big Pharma has paid Elizabeth Warren over $10 million for her opinions. What opinions do you think they have paid her for? Now this is not the same money as in, well, this is to lobby. This is extra money. So Mike Benz brought this up that said basically what we're seeing is a bought out group of senators who are now arguing for the fact that they want to keep using what they've been bought out for. You know, I do sponsors on here, and the reason I do sponsors is because it helps us, of course, pay for the things that go on with our channel. But ultimately, I actually have turned more sponsors away than actually accepted because of some of the things they pushed. For instance, you know, I'm not a crypto supporter. I could make so much money pushing crypto, but I don't believe in it. So I don't push crypto. I can make so much money pushing certain banking apps. I don't do it because I believe they're shady. There are so many things that I can make money on that I choose not to because I don't believe in them. Now, for instance, the sponsor of today's video, I believe in. I believe in it because I'm the one partaking of it. I'm absolutely using it. And you'll hear from them in just a second. But what I'm saying when it comes to these people, do you believe they're going to be affected by the monies they're coming in? Just think if someone wrote you $1 million check and said, I want you to speak about and promote how good a Big Mac was. For $1 million, you're going to, man, it doesn't matter if you like those lettuce, pickles, and tomatoes, you're going to talk about how awesome that Big Mac is, aren't you? Especially for $1 million, especially for $2 million, especially if they help you get elected to have power to make other money through other lobbying firms. That's what we don't understand. Pharma is the inroads to a lot of other things. So they may make $2 million or right at $2 million from the pharma over the last year or 2 or 3 years, but then they may make another $10 million or another $10 million, another $10 million, another $5 million through other lobbying firms because pharma is the absolute biggest. That is absolutely crazy that we're allowing this to happen. Well, they're yelling at him that he should be allowing for more of this to be mandated. See, here's the difference. RFK is not saying he wants to ban them. RFK just wants to say, I want the parents to have a choice. Another story, for instance, New Jersey. A bad player in the homeschooling movement. One family got caught doing something that they shouldn't have been doing with their child. I mean, it was terrible. They should be thrown in prison for it. Through that though, they made a policy and regulated and built a new law that ultimately probably will pass that will take away most rights of homeschooling and will allow for government overreach into the homeschooling movement. See, here's the thing. When government puts their hand in something, it actually makes it worse, because what they're doing is they're overreaching. So all those senators, that panel of people, had over $10 to $15 million through pharma presented, and they were fighting against RFK. Do you honestly believe any of those people will stand with RFK, no matter if there's an RD behind their name? Do you believe any of those people are working for you and believing that you are safe by taking that? No, because they're getting paid to tell you to do it. What did I tell you about the Big Mac? You know the Big Mac's unhealthy for you. You know the calories are terrible, the carbs are bad, and it's preservatives. But for $1 million, you're gonna be like, man, everybody needs to try this Big Mac, wouldn't you? See, it's the same way. Are those senators and congressmen who are supposed to be representing you, I believe there should be no lobbying firms, there should be no lobbying money allowed in Congress. If Senate and Congress truly wanted to serve you, and help America grow, then they should do it almost like a pastor does. And what I mean by that is, if they're going to serve you, then they shouldn't be bringing in millions of dollars from the people that they're supposed to regulate. And ultimately what they're doing is giving them passes and regulating you, kind of like the homeschool thing. Now, as I said, a word from today's sponsor, Aura. This company has done magic for me because it's absolutely helped me stay safe in a digital world with AI and all the dangers of it. Check out the sponsor of today's video. If you wonder why scammers are always getting your phone number, why you have so much spam in your inbox, well, this is why. Your data has been compromised, meaning there's data brokers out there, and what they're doing is getting your information and turn around and selling it to maybe some salespeople, but maybe some bad players. The crazy thing is they do it without your consent. They give all your information to all these places, and it makes you vulnerable. And you know what? You actually can call hundreds of companies, thousands of companies, and tell them you don't want your information shared on the World Wide Web. But guess what? It's kind of hard and time consuming. That's why today's sponsor, Aura, is the game changer for you and your safety with your data online. Everything that we do is online now, so the last thing I want to do is try to go and find out who's got my information that shouldn't have it. That's why we recommend Aura. Aura does all the hard part. Aura goes in and they start taking your information automatically off and taking it away from some of the more compromised places, the vulnerable places. I kid you not. My inbox, my phone has been completely cleaned up, and I don't have to worry about all these crazy calls and all these insurance salesmen and all these apps tracking me all the time, because Aura is there to help. Aura also is so much more. Aura is all-in-one digital security. They do 5 things extremely well. They send you alerts if all of a sudden they find your personal information on the dark web, real-time fraud alerts for credit and banking apps, and also if your information has been compromised. 24/7 monitoring. This is the biggest, because I promise you, the people that are probably stealing your information, they're probably not doing it during the day era. What if it's through the night? 24/7 monitoring from Aura. A secure VPN, antivirus and password manager, and so much more. A US-based support available around the clock. So if something goes wrong, you can reach out to them and they're right there to help you. Aura includes $5 million in identity theft insurance. At night when I lock my doors before we go to bed, I don't want to lock just the front and leave the back open. Aura is all in one, so that way it's protecting you all online. If I sleep at night and I physically protect my home, what about making sure that I'm digitally protecting my information? Check with Aura today, aura.com/themacs. Get 14 days free by using that link. You want a peace of mind when you sleep? Aura can give you that. Aura.com/themacs. Check them out. Now let's go to money. I want you to listen to this. The Citibank came out and said this. It said the U.S. and Canadian dollars are at risk of collapsing. They expect Friday's job reports to absolutely hit a very disappointing and signal that there could be a recession coming. Now, do I believe there's a recession coming? I believe we actually have been in a recession probably for the last 15 years, maybe even since the Bush era. I think we just print so much money that we try to hide it, and the Fed is so dishonest that they try to hide it, and the Senate and Congress pass so much money and appropriations that spending makes it where it kind of goes away. That's what I think, but let's keep on going. It says, they predict only 45,000 new jobs versus 75 expected. Canada's unemployment skyrocketed to 7.2, the worst of the entire G7. Weak data will likely show that the bets of the interest rates will probably happen, but ultimately really to help America borrow more money to try to stay out of the recession. So we hear this warning from Citibank, which is one of the biggest players in the world now, one of the biggest major banks and the players in the Fed, and now they're saying that it's not looking good. And actually, what we hope is to look better. But if you remember, if you watched my videos for the last 2 years, I made a mention that no matter what Trump does, that I do believe that the ball will actually drop during his administration when it comes to our money, because our money is not sound and hasn't been sound for a long time. Would I blame that on Trump? No. I believe the tariffs and all this new way of looking at it. Meta is saying yesterday they're going to invest $600 billion more. Apple's saying they're going to invest close to $1 trillion. Same way with NVIDIA. I think all these plans are wonderful, but I don't believe it's going to dig us out of the hole that we're going to face. And I believe they're exactly right. I want to tell you another story. Bukele, which is in El Salvador. Now, this has been one of the biggest proponents of crypto and this new monetization in a way that's honest, not as much like taking over the world and not against the dollar, but saying, look, we need to look at crypto options. Guess what he did just this week? And this is why I tell you so much to buy gold. I want you to listen to what he said. He said, even though we have enjoyed crypto, we enjoy our money, we are looking to buy $50 million worth of gold because we believe that is true value. Now, I don't know about you, but it's true value because he's holding that gold. Remember, gold has been around since, biblical times. It's always been a part of our economies. You know, the people that had it had wealth. Bitcoin's been around for really less than about 10 to 15 years of really understanding. Crypto's been around for really less than 20 years. And no one can actually explain it to you. And if you have to go through a dissertation class or watch 14 YouTube videos to tell you how the speculative currency works, then it's probably not the wisest. There's a guy that commented underneath Bukele's post. He said, before long he's going to realize that crypto's not that important, and he'll probably start selling some of his crypto to start buying more gold. And I actually believe that too. The reason you see the hedge with gold, you see gold is skyrocketing. North Korea, China, Russia, Poland, so some of even our allies, Bukele, everybody's buying gold. Did you know the Fed, even though the Fed's telling you that your dollar's sound, guess what they're buying most of? What asset are they buying most of? Gold. It shows that we're in a very, very, very volatile time. Have you tried to sell your home lately? You want way more than the market's willing to give you. No one's buying them, so there's more sellers than buyers. That's never been a time in history. When the government tells you we need more houses, no we don't. We actually need prices to go down so people can actually start buying the houses again. The problem is not enough houses. It's kind of like the government. It's not the problem that the government is making money. They make plenty of money. It's the fact that they're spending the way they're spending. Same way with these homes. If we keep on doing this kind of mentality, we're going to destroy our own economy. Scott Bessent came out last week and actually said that our housing market is unstable and it needs to get more stable. Now, that's a nice way of saying that, we thought the crisis of 2008 with the mortgage crisis falling out was bad. We're actually worse than that. If you look at some of the numbers, we're actually at some of the worst numbers than we've ever been. Not because of Trump. This goes back years now, people. We're at some of the worst numbers when it comes to debt and assets than we've ever been. And again, we have to blame the last 10 to 15, 20, 30 years on that. But ultimately, Congress is getting filthy rich. The richest among us are getting filthy rich, while the rest of us are getting poor. What did I tell you? The middle class is going away because of all this stuff. That's why it's important to buy gold and tangible assets. So that way you're not looking one day and saying, where'd my crypto go? It just disappeared. Well, it did disappear because it's not real. Citibank is saying the quiet parts out loud. Scott Bessent saying the quiet parts out loud. The Fed is buying gold. Bukele's buying gold. China's buying gold. Poland's buying gold. That should show that it's probably wise that you buy gold too. Or at least base your money on something that has value. And that's real estate, food, water, tangible goods, barterable goods, medicines, gold. That's what you need. All right, 2 more stories and then we're gonna wrap it up. First, this story, it's kind of a crazy story, but listen to this. It says hundreds of struggling Arkansas farmers have asked the federal government to save them. They're needing more help. It says that several people say that Trump is killing farming. Now, here's 2 things I have a problem with this. If we're in industry, whatever that industry may be, if it be tech, if it be farming, if it be gas, if it be solar, if it be wind, if it be, whatever it may be, whatever you could name XYZ, whatever industry you're in. If the government has to subsidize that and the government has to help that that industry out, that industry should not exist. Or at least it should be reset. Now, why do I say that? The more that these farmers come alongside and want the government to help them, it's kind of like tech going alongside Trump. I believe the scary thing, when government gets involved, what did we say? We get overregulation and actually more control and less freedom. What do you think's happening? Bill Gates owns, he's the majority single landowner in America. The more we allow government in our lives, like these farmers, the more they're saying we want more money from the government. For instance, I had a guy reach out to me the other day and said, hey, have you taken one of the farm grants? You know, you had a lot of pine that goes down. You're a farm owner and cattle owner. Hay was bad a few years ago. The NRCS gives grants for fencing. Like, there's tons of grants and tons of subsidies that as a farmer I can grab. I've declined every one of them. Now, I'm not saying you're bad if you took any of those, but if you read the fine print, in any catastrophic event, anytime you take money from the government, it allows them to have a little say about your land. During a major crap hits the fan situation, it gives them a lot of say. You know, if you're allowing the government to build these high tunnels on your property and fence in certain areas for cattle, they own those for numerical amounts of years. So 10, 15 years, what if something goes down and they say, well, no, we're going to commandeer and take all this because we actually own it anyway? It can happen. So it scares me that these farmers are coming in and saying, please, government, help me. I don't believe any industry should need help. And if they do, then that means something should be reset. We should reset our food system. We should reset whatever the situation may be and start back from zero. I don't believe government should be involved in any of this. Sorry. They shouldn't be involved in medicine. They shouldn't be involved in any of it. And if you took government out of this stuff, I believe it'd actually work better. It may take time, but ultimately I believe it'd work better because government really has not done anything to actually help. I mean, again, look at Medicare, look at Social Security, look at Medicaid, look at SNAP, whatever you say. None of it has actually worked for the better. Now, last story I want to bring up. This came out that Brandon Gill, I thought, shared this, and I thought it was really good. It says, we're losing our country. Mass deportations and remigration and strict immigration caps are desperately needed. He said all these activist judges are basically holding up getting these people back home. Listen to this. This came from Libs of TikTok. It says, just in Dearborn Heights Police Department in Michigan has just revealed America's first police badge that features Arabic writing in order to reflect the diversity of their community. The McDonald's, the Walmarts, all those people there, they have had to change their menus, change everything about it for this group of individuals. Now, I gotta be honest with you, I don't think this is right at all. I don't believe any person should come to America and not assimilate and try to change our values. That's what made us who we are. Now, strict libertarians may say, well, no, they can do whatever they want. It's their freedom. No, it's not quite. And here's why I'm saying this. If you can't believe what America believes, why do we want to let you in the country? Because of the infiltration issue that you're going to cause. Prime example. I want you to listen to what this professor said. And this is a doctor, but he says, this is Dr. Yoram Hazani. Tommy Robinson shared this from UK. He says, in America, you have the luxury of pretending that Jews are the enemies. How many times have you heard that? They're running the White House. They're over all this stuff. They're over a monetary system. It's all a lazy lie. It's foolish. Listen to what he says. I think this is so big. And again, he's speaking from experience, seeing what's happening in the UK. He says, you pretend that the Jews are the enemies. He said, because there aren't enough Muslims yet. You're going to go in the wrong direction, the same way UK did. And ultimately, you will look up one day and you will have no land. It will be taken. Pay attention to this. It's already happening in Michigan. It's already happening in Minnesota. It's already happening in New York City. It's already happening in Florida and Texas. They're taking over these little areas, and ultimately it's going to cause for a panic here. Now, if you don't see a lot of these as problems, from the tech billionaires having secret meetings to the scolding from senators on RFK, who is absolutely just trying to give you freedom of choice versus being something mandated for you, kind of like the New Jersey homeschool situation. Now the farmers are begging for government to help them. We don't need more government in our life, people. We need less. But the more you buy into the system, the more you believe in it, the more you buy into the crypto that they're trying to push, the more you're going to be locked into the system. And you will have them always needing, you are always going to be needing them. I want you to listen to one more thing that Bill Gates said, and I think this is dangerous. RFK brought it up, but I want you to listen to what Bill Gates just said. And he said this while meeting with Trump. He says he will help, with President Trump's help, to eradicate diseases using this and editing, gene editing. Our goal is to be the leaders. We want to make next level cures and eradicate major diseases. Our goal is to control that. Now I'll be honest with you, that's biblical. That's scary. And let's go back to what RFK just said. Well, what we don't realize is the more we give these people control, especially when it comes to AI, especially when it comes to government needing to help us, like the farms, the less we actually have freedom. Pay attention to these stories, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, we humbly ask that you subscribe, you share our content. We're here every day, so please come back tomorrow, watch our content, because again, our goal is to open your eyes to what's going on, to be a realist, and understand that's why we prepare, and always making sure we're grounded in our faith. Thank you for watching. God bless.